I spit for children of the ghetto, surrounded by rock like heavy metal. Has never seen the beauty of the ocean nor metal. The system steady pulling they strings just like the pedal, but I swear I never settle till I free them from the devil. I spit for black babies trying to keep their hope alive. The world is trying to take away their hunger to survive. I spit for lost sheep that never dream of universities. They can't see above their situations and adversities. Whose only real role models is gangsters. They cut back the bankers, the channel they aim to blow. Rise and fall like the movement of the Dow. They say revolution's coming, but I say the time is now. I put that on my mother and everything that I hold dear. Covered by the waters of faith, so I don't feel fear. Cause you ain't living till you're willing to die. I'm sick and tired of my people living just to get by. I speak for all my ancestors that are dead in the Atlantic. Fed the shark infested waters makes me wanna go manic. Kill them with money, they should change it to red. Cause it's soaked in the blood of my people, blood of the dead, yeah. Nat Turner, yo, I speak for you, Fred Hampton, yeah. I speak for you, John Brown, yeah. I speak for you, Megan Evans, yo. I speak for you, Emmett Till, yeah. I speak for you, Malcolm X, yeah. I speak for you, Dr. King, yo. I speak for you, Huey P, yeah. I speak for you. I'm seeing slaves just to make the homicide look like a cruise that never once got the chance to take revenge of the crew. Ain't no limit to the evil men do. Hey yo, a war on terrorism means a war against you. Uncle Sam, the biggest terrorist the world has ever known, stole land from indigenous peoples and called it home. Knew it was theirs, but you called it your own. Still you got the nerve to wonder why you reap what you sow. I remember all the blankets that you laced with the flu, but you don't call it terrorism till it's done against you. You know the plan, and yeah, I know exactly who I am. I'm original man, the one that built the pyramids in the sand. One you still can't build with your machine in your hand. You see the Abraham raised in true motherland. Miss America, the queen of the damn. A blood-sucker vampire, so a lot of men ran. But you better understand, SB gon' stand. You steady telling me I can't, when I know that I can. Even if I have to rock it as a one-man band. The only weapons that I need are the paper and pen. Yeah, Chi-Town, yo, I spit for you, yeah. Southside, yo, I spit for you. West side, yeah, I spit for you. North side, I spit for you. East Coast, I spit for you. West Coast, yeah, I spit for you. Dirty South, I spit for you. The Midwest, yeah, I spit for you. I spit for thugs that's incarcerated, caught in the matrix, cause I know they just a product of the fear and the hatred. Constantly told that they never gon' make it, but the spell that they cast on my people, I came to break it. I wasn't born yesterday, know that there's a better way. Know I'll find an answer through God, drop to my knees and pray. Cause I was sent to wake the people from the coma they in. Stop them from drowning all their troubles in the weed. The problem still there when the highs are gone. I hope you're listening. This is much more than this song. An antidote that you can take and it can make y'all strong. We've been sedated by the poison for much too long. I seen the night, but yo, I still see the light in the dark. Long as I'm here and I'm breathing, y'all believe in this song. See, I was born to fight for this kind of like fight for what's right. Cause in my dreams, I can still hear the screams. Still see the slaves getting raped in their teens. Telling me to carry the torch, even if my people still don't understand it, wanna sit on the porch. I speak for you, Stephen Biko. I speak for you, Nelson Mandela, yo. I speak for you, Benny Lou Hamer. I speak for you, MFDP, yeah. I speak for you.
Here we are again, our final day, reflecting on and examining justice-involved fathers, reclaiming their space as parents and reclaiming their role in our community. I want to take this time to thank Activists Incorporated for supporting this series, this 5-part series. This is our final day, so please go ahead and share this video now. We don't want people to miss this, and we also want you to watch the replays of previous episodes that we had this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now today. Also at this time, as I'm speaking, you can go ahead, whether you're on your mobile phone, whether you're in front of your computer, iPad, any device that you have with internet access, Wi-Fi access. I want you to go and visit 2020census.gov, 2020census.gov. We need to be counted. We need to be counted. Every dollar that the federal government has for communities, whether that's to build our schools, whether that is to provide more libraries, more recreational centers, all of the things we need for youth, whether that is to provide jobs, whether that's to better our roads, provide housing services. All of this is impacted by the number of people who reside in our district, in our area, region, city. And so we want you to go and complete the census. You can do that at any time. It simply takes 10 minutes of your time to do so. 10 questions is all you have to do. One thing I want us to know as we're talking about the U.S. Census and talking with justice-involved fathers, one of the things that we should be understand about the power of the census and why it's so important, it is very important. When we talk about justice-involved fathers, especially those who are still incarcerated, when we lose our fathers to the prison industrial system, those men and women, but since we're talking about fathers, those men, they are not counted in our homes. They are not counted in our community. They are not counted in our city or our state. You know where they are counted? They are counted in the city or state that prison is located. So the prison gets our numbers, and that community gets those dollars for the men who normally should be in our community. And so we have to think about that when we think about justice reform, we think about prison reform. We have to think about the dollar and how much of it is dependent on our men being incarcerated. We also have to take time to understand that if prisons are including their population and they are the first in line to do the census, then that should tell us just how important and vital it is to be counted. That should tell us and inform us of why we should make sure that we are accounting for everyone who is living in our homes. So do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. And call up somebody else and give them that same link. I'm going to tell you what that link is once again. It is 2020 Census, census.gov. Again, 2020 census.gov. Go in now to complete that and tell a friend and tell a friend. Also, again, make sure you are, please make sure you are passing this on. This is going to be a powerful night, just like the other nights. And I'm excited, especially about this guest. This guest is very near and dear to me. The work I do serving girls. And I've said it before, the girls I serve have families. They are not just by themselves. They come with a whole community and a whole family behind them. And for a lot of our girls, they are the parent. They are children of justice-involved parents. Oftentimes, both parents. A lot of times, both parents, but majority of the time, it is our fathers who are missing. In fact, 1 in every 9 Black children in America has a parent that is in jail. 1 in every Black child in America has a parent in jail. So what is that doing for our community? What is that doing to our community? And how do we support fathers who are justice involved so that they can be the parents, the strong men that they are destined to be? And how do we support their children? And also, how do we accept them back into society? What are some of the barriers they're facing? And how do they reclaim their space and make a contribution, a positive contribution to society? And I'm so glad to have on with me my brother, Dondrell Jackson. I want to thank you, bro, for agreeing to come on. I know this is about to be a very powerful conversation, so thank you for agreeing to be my last guest.
Anything for you, sis. You know what I mean?
Like this is the last. They say the best for last. This is about to be so powerful. I'm so appreciative. So let me
Thank you for having me.
absolutely. I'll just preface this and tell you, we've had people on who've had all kinds of experiences. Some who've had repeated, who've been repeatedly just as involved since they were little kids. We've had some on who made one mistake and that sent them away. We have some who are just returning home, just like within months. And we've had some who've been home now for 10 years. So it's a whole gamut. And everybody's experience, while prison is the common factor for all of you all, everybody's journey has been very unique. And everybody's journey provides people who are watching to hear what they normally probably stereotype because of what's in the media or stigma, but this allows people to hear different circumstances that put someone to be just as involved. So I'll just let you start by telling people, your journey, where you began. First of all, I guess this is kind of biased because I know you personally, my brother, but I do want you to tell people about your family, tell people about Mama Joyce, and tell people about your grandma and the family that you're from.
Yeah, my family, I mean, was my dad left, my grandma, my granddaddy, my other grandma, everybody been praying for me and, doing a lot of things for me, me and my cousins, taking us to do different things like that. I have my aunties, my uncles, I got life out of everybody that was around me.
So where are you? Where in your family? Where are you? Are you the baby? Are you in the middle? Are you the oldest? When it comes to your age group.
Well, on both sides of my mom, I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm the oldest. My mom is the oldest, so I'm the oldest grandchild on both sides. Okay. So that's where it goes. I guess I'm supposed to be like a leader or something, but I don't know. But
a leader and spoiled.
Huh?
A leader and spoiled.
Well, no, because some of them came right behind me, so I had to share it.
So what was it like growing up for you? You got aunties, you got your grandmas, you got your mother, you got uncles. What's the life for Dondrell at 6 and 7 years old? What's your life?
Mostly, it was me and my mom, and my granddad. He played a big key in my life. My dad was gone, and almost every weekend, my granddad come pick us up. Well, pick me up, come to the house, do different things. I learned how to ride a bike over there, and took me to church every Sunday, whether I wanted to go or not. But at that age, I wanted to go because I wanted to be around him. Mm-hmm. My grandma, I stayed at her house when I wasn't at home. That's where mom would take me. When I get out of school, I go over there and spend time with my uncles. But yeah, for the most part, it was pretty cool.
I lost you a little bit. Can't hear you really well.
Is there a way to turn this
up? Now I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, you had went out for a quick second.
Yeah, like I was saying, but most times, everything was pretty good. A good support system. Whatever I tried to do, whether it was playing drums or playing football, I had a good support system.
And when you say playing drums, so what were you playing drums consistently, and where were you playing drums at?
The west side of Chicago. It was a band called Old Queen Royal Gladiators by John Q and Claudia O'Quinn. And they've been around for years, since the 60s, back in the day when, when all the other stuff was going on, going through today. They was around, they was able to bring kids in and teach them how to play an instrument and go take championships, go take trophies everywhere. Just regular black kids that learned how to do something, and they took them and made them something. Like a lot of the people, I think some of the guys from that band is part of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So they've been doing it for a while. So I got into that, and that was my love at that time. So when I got in trouble, my mom, no, ain't no drum practice today. It hurt.
So you're a kid that you have appreciation for music. You're exposed to music. You have that outlet.
Yeah.
How until what age are you involved with that?
Probably up till I was like 16.
So then you turn 16, and then what happens?
I mean, even before then, I was a little troublesome. I wasn't no angel, but even before then, I was getting into trouble, but I always went back to the drums. But after that, wanted to be grown.
Well, at let's just say 14. What was it that was? Why do you think that you were getting into trouble at 14? You had a parent, you had family. What changed that would channel you into getting into trouble?
I want to say maybe it was a few things. At the time it was cool to do certain things, or didn't want to look like a wimp. And I had a bad temper for some reason. I had a very horrible temper, and I think it was the short man complex. You know what I mean? But I was taught, that some of the elder guys in my family, oh, you too little, to be out here fighting in this net. So if you do get into it, make sure you swing first because you're so little. I was skinny, I was short, so I had no win in a lot of things. But they taught me everything I needed to know, but I think a little bit too much because it got to the point that in my head, can't nobody beat me. And from time to time, it started out with a lot of fights, and then, little respect. Oh, that little dude right there, yeah, he wild. So it was almost like an ego thing that I had. That I'm glad that's kind of gone now, but it was that. Then fast money. I seen fast money being made. I want to learn how to. I want to make some of that money. So that's where it all started. Around that age as well. I probably was maybe 13, 14 years old.
And so when do you encounter your first justice and your first encounter with the justice system?
Well, I can say as a youngster, I never really got caught with anything, but I did a lot of running from the police. I got beat up by police. They didn't take me to jail, but they beat me up and, took whatever money I had. They left me with the drugs, but they took the money I had. But I really didn't see real, jail time until I got grown. Unfortunately, a lot of things I was doing, I was trying to be slick. I tried to be 10 steps ahead of the police. I wouldn't keep nothing on me. I wouldn't even keep no money on me, But yeah, I think I was grown when I first went to the county. And with even with that, they didn't catch me with anything. They got me for soliciting.
And so when you had to do real time, well, the first time, were you a father at that time?
Yeah, I was a father at that time. But I did no jail time. So, it's like, oh, they ain't catch me with nothing. So I ain't gonna never get caught.
So the first time you just spent a couple of weeks or whatever.
No, it wasn't even a week. It was maybe a couple hours. Because I was out doing my thing and I had. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I was out doing my thing, but I had somebody working for me. They caught her with it. And she was trying to do what she was trying to do inside the police car. And they said, well, we're gonna put 3 on her and 3 on him. But they didn't do it. So I didn't do no jail time. But my first encounter was I was 28 when it got real. It got real.
And what was your charges and what was your time you had to do?
When they first got me, it was Class X, attempted murder. I had 4 counts of attempted murder, 4 counts of aggravated discharge of a firearm, aggravated battery of a firearm. I had like 19 counts in total. And I went to trial, and they dropped the Class X's, and I had a Class 1 aggravated discharge of a firearm with great bodily harm. And they originally sentenced me to 10 years at 85%. After that, I put a motion in while I was incarcerated, while went down to the penitentiary. I fought back and forth with my lawyer, and I was able to give 4 years of that time back. So I did 6 years at 85, which was 5 years in a month.
6 years, just about 6 years.
Yeah.
And you're a father at this time.
Yeah.
And so we're talking now about family and support. So you had an attorney, so your family is obviously helping with this attorney, like how you,
yeah.
So
my mom, she used to tell me all the time, I was out there being hard here. If you go to jail, don't call me. So when I went to jail, I didn't call her. Somebody else told her. And fortunately, when she saw me, she was like, make sure you call me. So I called her, and I told her what happened. She was like, yeah, that don't sound like you. Because at that time, I was calming down anyway. I had moved away to Indiana. The situation didn't work out with the chick I was living with. So I moved back, and I wasn't even back maybe 2 weeks before I caught this charge. And so, yeah, my mom, they got the lawyer and everything, and it was a long fight. It was a very long fight.
And how important was that? Like your mother and other people, how important was that support while you were there to help fight?
It was very important because, when you incarcerated, yeah, you see people in there, but if you at a different stage in your life, and because before they even gave me the time, they was offering me 26 years because it was a violent crime, and that spooked me. Like, how you wait till you get this old and now you finna be gone for all these years? You got kids out here. At the time, I didn't have nobody to tell them where I was at. I told them that I was back on the road driving trucks. I see y'all, because I thought that I was gonna be able to beat it and come home before they even knew anything was different, but that wasn't the case.
So you were actually a truck driver at this time. You actually you were gainfully employed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the hardest thing. But
so somebody would ask, how is a person gainfully employed still involved in the streets?
Well, the situation that I was in, I was home. And what you call it with when neighbors don't get along.
So domestic. It was most likely.
Yeah, it was one of those things. There was a lot of threats being thrown. He's a street dude, I'm a street dude, and like I said, my ego. I tried to let it go. But then the guy, he was a street dude. So it was one of those things, like either him or me. So that's what happened with that situation.
That's a lesson for everybody that's watching too.
Yeah.
It is hard sometimes to not be, and it don't even have to be violent. It could just be wanting to get the last word. It could be it could be resentment. It could be all of those things. And it's just that one choice in that one moment that completely changes you.
And the thing is like like even with all the stuff going on now, you don't know what some people going through, and a lot of these cats out here, they got a big ego, you know. For some reason, they gotta stand up to who they are, try to make a name for themselves, and I mean it's stupid if you ask me. I get it, but it's stupid, you know. I was never the type that just haul off and pull my gun on somebody just because he looked at me wrong or asked me how tall I am, things like that. I mean, it's just I don't get it.
So
And
you,
when I was incarcerated, I talked to some of the young brothers. Like I had a conversation with one of the young brothers. We come in from working out. Can you can you hear me?
yep, now that's much better.
Yeah, we come in from working out and we got the chairs lined up so we can all get in the shot or whatever. And the guy, the little guy can say, looking at something on TV, oh, dude, a lame. And I just looked at him. I said, what's lame? We sitting here waiting on the shower to get in here with each other. That's lame. So, I still try to give some of these little guys some game, but sometimes you don't want to talk to them because of their ego is so big to the point that you don't know if this brother gonna pull a gun to kill you just because you're trying to talk to him about life because they feel disrespected. So
That's why I'm so grateful that this is sponsored by activists who does that work because it's not easy work. It's hard to
no,
back and talk to young people and to really swallow that pride and to just to not to want to tell somebody something, but then to know like sometimes it's a different approach. So
yeah, I mean
if
there,
you would
there
have
has to be
had, if
a
you would have
different approach.
if you would have had that before you went in, what do you think? Do you think you would have been able to stay away from that? If you would have had somebody come in and talk to you, like give you game, guide you, and keep you occupied and give you tools about anger management and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, but my pride was so gone at the time. I didn't get to. My mom, she tried everything. Bless her heart. She took me to a psychiatrist. Like what's wrong with you? This lady giving me homework. Nah, I don't even want to go to school. You give me homework. It was one of those things, and it's crazy because I sit back and I think about it. Like, a lot of the stuff your mom was telling you was correct. But it took for me to bump my head real hard. Luckily, it wasn't to the point that it was super life changing. Where I could have never came home, saw my kids again, or I could have been dead. But I got all of that when I was incarcerated. Most of the time I was incarcerated, we was on lockdown. So I spent a lot of time with myself and reflect on a lot of different things. I still got some work that I need to do, but right now I'm happy with the person I am.
And you said it could have been life changing, but in some ways, there were some things that you did miss out on. So
Yeah,
tell me about what kind of father you were when you went in.
I always
How old were your children? Like when you went in, what were you leaving behind?
they were 10 and 8, 10 and 8. One of my oldest daughter, she has health complications. My youngest daughter, I watch her, grow up behind a glass, so to speak. You know, and it was hard when they first found out that I was incarcerated. I just told them, they're like, I'm gonna be going to court forever, so just bring them. And my kid's mom told me when she pulled up to the county, and they just stopped and they looked. They say, "This is where my daddy at, ain't he?" Yeah. And when she told me that it kind of hurt. But there was nothing I can do at that point. So now I just have to, stay in communication with them, and let them know that everything's gonna be okay. I'll be home soon. You know, make sure you take care of that schoolwork. It's no different because even though I'm in here, I still gonna have hands to reach her. But you know, for the most part, I'm glad that I had some daughters that had some guidance around them. You know, and they made sure that they was okay. And that's because of the situation that I was in. Everybody knew that I was heading a different way. I was starting to go a different way, but that had brought me all the way back. So now the people that saw me before, you know, well, my family that saw me before, they reached out. It's like, nah, this ain't him. And that's the support that I had got. You know, that was the main support that I got. I didn't care about nobody sending me no money or nothing that. I wanted to make sure them girls was okay, you know. And you know, it took a lot of phone calls, letters, you know, any little money I had, I put money on the phone so I'd be able to talk to them because their mom was struggling or whatever the case may be. I wasn't trying to be a burden, you know, but you know, that's how it was. It was, a lot of drawings. I made sure that I sent them stamped envelopes back, that I probably won from gambling or something. You know what I mean? I get a big envelope and I just send them envelopes back. So yeah, you can write your dad anytime you want to, and I will call y'all at least twice a week, and that's what I did.
So now you get out, you come home. So they are 16 and 14. 16.
No, actually, my oldest, she was turning 14. She was getting ready to graduate from 8th grade. I made it home for that.
Wow.
I made it home for that. I think it was that year. I came home April and she graduated. I think June. Yeah, because I was on house arrest.
And so this is perfect. So there's a graduation,
Yeah,
and you coming straight like you've been home for a month or two, and,
yeah,
and you going into this thing to show up as the proud father
yeah.
of your daughter. How is that? How is the welcoming? What's the reception once you get out and you come home?
Oh, it was the best in the world. I mean, my mom had everything set out. Family came over. They didn't know I was home. We told them that I still had another few months. I was hiding in the basement, and when I came up, I saw them, and they looked. They just instantly ran to me and started crying. That was a warm feeling. And I think I had them for majority of the summer. I think they stayed with me the majority of the summer. So yeah, we got to build and things like that. And I'm just happy that they turned out to be the young ladies that they are. Even right now, they both in college, no kids, they're not running the streets. I'm happy.
So, what would you say some of the challenges they did face though by not having you in their lives?
Maybe, I mean, me being there physically, you know, and doing different things. Like I never got a chance to do a father daughter dance with them, or you know, uh, just basically hanging out like we used to. You hear me? Hello, hello.
Okay.
Yeah, it basically wasn't able to hang out with them like I used to. They think they funny. I think I'm funny. So we usually have a good time. We hanging out even when they was babies. Watching movies, and they watch the same movie 7, 8 times. I sit there with them. Sometimes I go to sleep. But it was, I mean, that was almost the best feeling in the world when I came home and my baby was graduating. I even convinced the parole officer to let me stay out longer because they was only gonna give me a couple hours. I was able to go out, take them out to eat, even though I wasn't working. You know, but that's another thing. When I got out, I hit the ground. I didn't care how much I was getting paid an hour. You know, I started with a minimum wage job. It was like $8. Now, mind you, before I went in, I was a truck driver. I was making the upwards of 20 some bucks an hour. So it was just one of those things. I had to kill my own ego. Like, man, you need to take something. So a lot of times I see cats out here, just getting out. Oh, ain't no jobs out there. I mean, there's jobs. I went through a temp service. They actually have a class action lawsuit with one of the temp services that I went to. Well, it was a day labor, one of those labor rated places. They was giving the jobs to other people, and because I was black, they wasn't giving the jobs. But I showed up there every morning, even though I wasn't getting jobs. I just found somewhere else to go, and I went there. So it went from that to another minimum wage paying job, to me talk to somebody, say, oh yeah, they take felons here. I put in an application for that. I was making maybe $9 an hour. Now it's $1 more. Then from that place, I went to another place. They was paying $10. That's $1 more. Then I went and did deconstruction. They was paying $11. And then I found a job that I had before I moved to Vegas, and I was there 3 years. If I'd have never left for Vegas, I'd have been a supervisor of that whole warehouse right now. So I mean, there's some things to do. You just have to do it.
So what would you say? Like you said, there's jobs and why people making fast money, and even like you had a legitimate job, legitimate employment. But a lot of other people making fast money that's not being taxed. They ain't got to answer to nobody. They live in that street life, and so then to have to go and get a minimum wage job,
it's hard.
Yeah,
it goes back to what I said about ego. You got to kill that ego. If you can't kill that ego, you go back out there making fast money. The question is, do you like jail? Because there's a chance you take it. I mean, that's what's going to happen. It's just going to be two things. You're either going to get killed or you're going to jail. So it's either kill your ego or you die physically in the street or die physically behind bars. I think that's what did it, That's what did it for me. I had a young dude that told me, he was like, I mean, he was younger than me, but it made so much sense to me, and I carried it. He said, man, as long as you carry a gun, you're going to use it one day. And I heard it before from older dudes. Well, I say for a youngster to 10 years. That was my thing, since I always, even I had a license to have a gun, but all my guns was illegal, and I kept it with me every day because the motto, I'd rather get caught with it than without
it. And if you hadn't had that gun that day, then you probably wouldn't have. If you had left it at home, if you had some.
I was home. Oh. I was home. I mean, the thing is,
you didn't have to go get it; it was on you.
Yeah. The thing is, the reason why I was able to get one of the blessings I did, because I did walk away from it, but I didn't know what he had. Remember, I told you he was a street dude too. So when you follow me, and I'm a street dude, I mean, you either crazy or I don't know. So I think if I didn't have it, you probably wouldn't be talking. We probably wouldn't even know each other right now. So that's why I say it was one of those things. Damn if you do it, damn if you don't. I would get him before he get me. So that's why I had a hard time. The first time I felt like I did something right, I got punished for it.
And that's a lot of experience trying to do the right thing. So I want to ask you this question about young people, especially. Like there's a few organizations. Chicago Cred is one of them. Activists is another. Where they try to direct them out of the community, direct people to jobs and other things that get them out of that environment, right? Um, do you think that that is a big part of it? Like if you were in Indiana and not back in the streets, like at home, but around
Yeah,
the element, do you think that that is a key to because a lot of the violence that we're seeing is all in the same community. Everybody knows
yeah.
everybody's all. Do you think that changing environment changes you?
I
For the
mean, you would catch, with those organizations, they would catch a lot of them that they can change their life, but some of them kids, I mean, like, their parents messed up on drugs, and they probably been, fending for themselves since they was kids. It depends on their mindset. That's just to me. That's my opinion.
Mhm.
It depends on their mindset. But I mean, those programs help. They help. They help a whole lot. It's just like when I came home. What kind of upsetted me is because they got the CTA thing, right?
Mhm.
They was hiring felons, but they wouldn't hire me because I had a violent case. So if you sold drugs or you stole or something like that, oh yeah, we'll hire you. But not even looking at your background, like, oh, okay, well, this is the first time he benefit. Okay, he probably made a mistake. You know, let's get this brother back to work. They was making money too. I was highly upset about that. They had a couple places you can go, and they'll hook you up with it. And I get in there, and I'm thinking I'm finna get a job there. Oh no, you got a violent case. They can't use you. They was getting paid 13, maybe 13, $14 an hour. And I had to settle for an $8 an hour job. I was upset about that. I think all they gotta do is get these these people a chance, man. That goes in and out of these fields. That job could have changed. That job can change somebody's life, but you turn him away because he made a mistake. He fired a gun, you know, or he just came home from murder, and he's been locked up all these years, and he got kids, he got to eat, and you turn him away, and he don't want to go take no $8 an hour job because he probably got like 10 or 15 kids. And hello,
Now that's
he probably had 10 or 15 kids, and child support. They either gonna lock you up for child support or for not being able to pay as much as you can, or go to jail for trying to sell drugs to take care of your kids. So I mean, it's a hard position to be in as a man. Some of us want to do the right thing, but the system won't allow you to.
it's various.
Yeah.
So what would you say though? What would you say to what would you say out of if you could say 5 top things that need to be changed in the system for justice involved fathers to be fully present, able to provide, able to be upstanding citizens, be able to hold their head up high, not be tempted by the streets. What would you say the 5 things that need to change within the system are?
Opportunity. And for me, some guys, they do need to get killed for child support. I mean but the guys that want to do for their kids and they just cannot financially do it, there should be something in place for that too, because that it follows you a long time. Um, Job training, you know, also the off the street programs, kids football, kids basketball team, wrestling, anything that they can get some of these younger kids in there to do something different, so they don't have to look at these dope boys glorifying their cars and things like that. Occupy their mind, And the other thing is is like I say again, is ego, because a lot of it comes from ego. So there should be some counseling. You can basically see a kid that has a big ego, you know, and I think that those are 5 things that I think what would have worked for me. I had a lot of it, you know what I'm saying, but the biggest thing was killing my ego. I still have an ego, but it's not at that level.
Yeah, everybody is a work in progress.
Yeah,
Nobody ever arrived, right? We always trying to get better and do better.
yeah.
So what would you say is, you talk about your children and your daughters. What would you say is the most proud thing that you've been able to do in terms of since you've been home? People will say, well, they can't really provide or whatever it is, the stereotypes of the father that's been in jail, locked up or whatever. What would you say was the one stereotype you were able to move beyond that makes you proud as a father?
That my kids still love me. I mean, they want to be around me, regardless if I can't do this. Like I say, I have some upstanding, young ladies. Even with my extended family. My family. If it's hard. If I don't have it, they say understand. They say they understand the kids, and that's the good thing about it. That makes me feel like, okay, I try. I can't get you everything. Want the new Jordans? I can't get you the new Jordans. They go $100 to get you a pair of first ones. It's one of those things. They're not. I mean, they don't have the ego that I have. That's the thing. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Really proud.
That's the most important, to be loved and accepted.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's better than anything money could buy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Because you got people that can do all that. That's the only reason they want to see their daddy is because they know something coming. So
And I, it's no thing based on fear. It's just strictly love.
so
I look at them, and if I leave them again, they broke their heart when I moved to Vegas. But they understand that I had to move. It was a better opportunity for me to help you.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're watching, remember that you should absolutely fill out your U.S. Census. Go to make sure you go visit 2020census.gov, 2020census.gov. Everybody in your home needs to be counted. Dollars go to our schools. Everything that Dondrell is talking about when he talks about job opportunities, he talked about having programs and resources for young people. He talked about counseling and mental health services. So much of what we need is provided and afforded by the government and federal resources. So we absolutely need you to go and fill that out. Not just for us, but when we think about, again, the 1 in 9 children who have a parent who is incarcerated, we have to be that resource. We have to be that extra support in the community for that parent while they're away. So we have to be able to provide what is missing in so many spaces. So again, please go visit and complete that census. If you've already done it, super, great. You get a gold star. But please, if you haven't done it, if you know somebody that hasn't done it, you need to be telling everybody. Tell your cousins, tell your aunties, tell everybody, tell your neighbors, tell everybody. When you're in line at the store and you're talking 6 feet apart, tell somebody, hey, did you do your census yet? Make sure they do their census. Dondrell, we're going to take a couple of comments to see if anybody has any questions for you or comments. So we invite you now, if you're watching, to one, share this page, show some love, like. And then after you share the page, show some likes, fire away any questions you have. I have one comment that I want to show you. That's your baby girl. Yeah. So I should be very transparent and just tell people how we know each other. You want to do the honors?
No, you can.
Dondrell is my brother-in-law, married to my baby sister, and his daughters are my nieces. You're also a stepfather to 4 So that was another theme about another theme about all the fathers who have come on. They all are dedicated fathers to their children, and dedicated fathers to stepchildren, and dedicated men to the community. Like that's been a theme. And I was talking to my husband yesterday, talking to B yesterday, and we were talking about the type of men who are often, I don't want to say, almost who fall into that trap, that entrapment that awaits them in the streets. And it's always those who are like divergent, those who don't go along with the program, those who show strong personality and strong leadership, that the system that makes their own way in the system.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is also the characteristics and the traits that we need in our communities, right? But because it doesn't fit into the box of how the government or mainstream wants you to do things, then they take you out of the community. But really, you all are the leaders and the devoted men that we need, the protectors that we need. So I thought that was interesting. Interesting point.
Thank you, sis.
Here's another comment.
Thank you, Auntie. That's one of the aunties right there.
We love aunties. I'm an auntie too. We love aunties because aunties are, honestly, aunties are the second mamas, or at least they should be, right?
Yeah.
Aunties can make or break it. They there to support the mother, grandmas, aunties. So yeah, shouts out to all the aunties that's putting it in and representing. The last, I guess I just want to ask you, so now when you talk about being you talk about your fatherhood and that role as a parent, what are you proud of that you're able to do in a way that you can give back to the community at large? Like, what are some of the things you're doing with younger people? And you've moved now to Las Vegas. So what are some things you're able to do to contribute and repay to society right now?
Yeah, one of my things right now is I didn't want to do it, but I was forced into coaching, my son's football team. So yeah, we get a lot of kids in here with all different types of characters. But what drives me every day is that I push them boys, and and I know that they're not at home breaking into cars or breaking into people's houses. It's a little different out there where I'm at now, but letting them know, you're an athlete. You have to carry yourself a certain type of way. And it's pretty. Now I like it. I was dragged into it as a favor to one of my buddies. But he needed help, and he been helping me since I've been in Vegas. So I helped him out, and I kind of like it.
And what's that for your bond with your son?
Right now, say that again.
What did that do for your bond with your son? Being able to coach him?
It goes back and forth because he look at me as dad, but I try to tell him how to better his game, but he look at me as dad like, oh, here you go.
But did they give y'all time to be together?
Yeah, we together a lot. Like right now, he's my junior coach. So he's learning and understanding what I'm doing now. So that's a good thing. And plus, he's still getting himself prepared for when he head to high school, so he can blow up Nevada and be one of the best ballers out there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we together all the time. We together all the time. We got the mobile detailing. He's coming out there. He's working. We just try to keep them boys, busy.
Well, I'm proud of you too. I'm extremely proud of you.
Thank you, sis.
And again, this is for Girls Like Me project. And this is the work that we do with girls. We know many of our girls that we serve. As I said, they don't just come to us as themselves, they come to us with all of whatever is impacting their families. So if that's an incarcerated parent, if that is a parent who's addicted to drugs, if that's a parent who may have some mental issues, if that's a parent who is just busy and working, it could be so many different things that we have to remember when we're serving our children, that not all of them are the same, and not all of them are, cookie cutter and from perfect privileged worlds. And we have to continuously remember that. And if we want to fully serve girls, then we have to serve their families as well. And so again,
I want to thank you too, because you found another daughter.
I love my nieces, and I was really glad, to be able to provide the opportunity to go to travel out of the country with
Yeah,
a friend, and Lily. I love, family is family for us. It's a
yeah, yeah.
huge deal, and I'm even grateful for Stephanie, their mother. Like, I love that dynamic. No matter, it may not be perfect, but I love that there is a dynamic, and your mother and your aunties and your grandmother
Mhm.
support, and they still all talk and everything. I love that. I love to see that. And our families are not perfect. We don't have millions of dollars in trust funds, endowments, and all of this, but the love, when you have support,
That
that
outshines everything.
outshines everything. And when you can, when one generation is better and ahead of the last generation, that's all we can ask for.
Yep.
And so even in your physical absence, you were able to instill and to shower that love, and to keep that bond, because a lot of times there's some barriers when people come home. They don't have that bond. They got to start rebuilding, and it's a lot of resentment and tension.
And a lot of them go back
And a lot.
because they goes back and forth, and that's what they know. That's home.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, that's sad. I told people I'm fighting for the dough, not the flow. So take it how you want to take it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in to watching this. This is our final. I told you that we say the best for last. This is what we want to see. We want to see men who are finding their way, finding their path, strengthening their commitment and their bonds with their children as parents. We want to find those men and uplift those men and celebrate those men who are, they have those stripes on them, but they still pushing, they still giving back, they're still contributing. And shouts out to all the families. That's what we need to be, is family. We need to support each other, hold each other down, fill in the gaps. If COVID has not taught us anything else, we must fill in the gaps. If uprisings in our community where stores suffer losses, if nothing else can show us that we have to fill in the gaps, and we really are enough. We
Yeah.
really have everything we need if we pull together. So I want to thank you again. Salute, bro. And I'll see you in a little while.
All right,
Thank you.
sis. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Joy. Any last words before you leave?
Peace.
Peace. Peace. So while this is here online on Facebook Live, I want you to practice and learn from some of the things that you heard. be able to learn from those things. All right. Um, I guess we're signing off. Thank you, Activists. Please go visit activistinc.org, activistinc.org. They are servicing the Washington Park, Bronzeville, Grand Crossing, Pullman, Roseland areas. Make sure you check them out. Washington Heights. Make sure you check them out and support the work. Support the work. Support the work. Peace, y'all.